Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by HipChat. Bring your team to life with persistent team chat, file sharing, and integrations with the software you use, a team communication tool built for business. HipChat is free forever, and HipChat Plus, including video and screen sharing, is free for 6 months for the first 1,000 listeners at hipchat.com/twist. And by Squarespace, an all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create a professional website, and now an online store. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code TWIST.
For the first time in the history of the Launch Festival, I didn't do one of the interviews. Instead, Adam Lashinsky did this great interview with Marc Benioff about giving back. It's an amazing interview. It's a different style than mine, of course, but it's an important interview, and it's an important discussion about giving back to society, philanthropy, and the role that successful entrepreneurs can take, even once starting out, to give 1%, 1%, and 1%, 1% of their time, 1% of their equity, et cetera, 1% of their revenue. It's a really important discussion about giving back from one of the great leaders of our time, Marc Benioff. You're going to love it. Stick with us.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Marc, you have a room full of entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs here. What's your number one piece of advice for them?
The number one piece of advice. I think, we had a dinner last night at my house, and I was trying to evangelize philanthropy to a number of entrepreneurs. And my number one piece of advice to them is that at the beginning of your company, that is right at the start, right kind of when you're the formation, right when you're conceptualizing, getting your first funding, hiring your first people, this is the most important time right now. And the reason why that's the most important time, because the intentions that you set right now are going to result in what your company is. Of course, they're setting their intentions in regards to their product. Of course, they're setting their intentions in regards to maybe their funding, their distribution strategy. But of course, what I'm suggesting, number one, is they need to think about what is their intention around giving back to the community. All of them are going to be billion-dollar companies with multi-billion-dollar valuations.
From his lips to your ears.
So now is the time to think about what is it going to look like when that's happening, and what will you have given back over your journey.
But hang on.
Another key point besides the philanthropic point is, we have a huge issue in our industry that women are not rising up fast enough. And we need to, in the same way that we need to set kind of at the beginning of the beginning, our intention around philanthropy and our product and our funding and our distribution models, we should be thinking about, okay, what is a percentage of women we're going to have in our companies too, in our management, in our engineering, because as an entrepreneur, you can get really aware and conscious of those decisions now. It becomes much harder when the train is down the track 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, or you've already had your IPO. It's much harder to say, oh, what are our female ratios?
So hang on, I'm going to role play for a moment here. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm listening to your advice about what I should be thinking.
Are you going to be a woman as part of this role play?
Well, why not?
Okay.
No, I think I'll be more representative of the community, and I'll be a male entrepreneur. And I'm going to say, Marc, sounds great, but I'm scared shitless here. I'm trying to get a company going. I'm not sure the product's going to work. I don't know if I'm going to be any good at this.
Right.
I don't have any confidence. I've never done it before. Everybody's telling me I'm going to fail, and
This sounds like you normally, though, Adam.
And you're telling me I should be concerned about
this is your role playing, or this is how you normally are?
And you're saying I should be concerned about these airy-fairy concepts of giving back.
Yeah, and I think that this is like a really key point. If you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, you want to transcend that anxiety or that fear, that's the first thing you need to do. And you need to be able to start to visualize and have clarity of where you are going in the future. And that's kind of my point, which is let's take all that anxiety and stress and fear and uncertainty, and let's move it aside for a second. And now let's really think about what kind of company do we want to create? What is our real outcome? What is our dream? And let's just bring all fields of possibilities into that dream right now. So let's really look at everything that we want to do with our organization. Companies are incredible assets. You can do so much with companies. The field of all possibilities is so strengthened because, number one, you have all your employees. So each one adds another dimensionality to your organization. 2, you have your product, your technology. 3, you have your investors. You have your customers. You have your partners. Every single one of these is another dimension. So you want to get really clear right now, because whatever you're going to start to focus on will get amplified through all those stakeholders. And if you can do that, if you can get really clear about where you're going, you're going to be a lot more, your likelihood of your success is going to greatly amplify.
And so you did just that when you started Salesforce.com. Tell everybody what you mean by the expression 1-1-1 and what you did from the beginning.
Well, thanks for asking that question. I think that the first thing is that when I was at Oracle for 13 years, from 1986 to 1999, we grew the company from 50 million in revenue when I started there to 9 billion when I left. So I saw, of course, this incredible meteoric growth. I had the opportunity to work directly for the CEO. His name is Larry Ellison. And we had this really great experience. But over and over and over again, I would just get this really empty feeling at Oracle. I would have, we'd have these great products, we'd close all these deals, our stock was rocketing, everybody's making money, but I was kind of like, I think a company can be more than this. And I want a better, kind of vibration in the company. I want a better energy. I want to have a feeling that when I walk in to the company, I want everyone to go, wow, there's an unbelievable energy here. There's a great feeling here in this company. And I felt that the missing piece was, and where I was not getting the level of fulfillment that I was looking to achieve at Oracle, was I didn't really have the ability to give back. So in 1997, I got this great offer from Colin Powell to come to this conference that he was putting on in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, called America's Promise. And it was the 5 living presidents were there, and there was like 300, Fortune 500 CEOs were there. It was really an epic event. I don't even know how I even got into this program, but his message was, you know what? Corporations have the ability to do unbelievably great things for communities.
Did you share your misgivings with Larry Ellison? Did you tell him
your
feelings?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And what did he say?
Well, that was the cool thing. I actually went to this conference, came back and said, we need to be doing like an Oracle Foundation or giving back. And so it was the time of Net Day. I don't know if you remember that. We were wiring computers in schools for the very first time. And so he's like, oh yeah, we'll put $100 million and we'll put these computers in schools and you can go network them and hire a team. And I did that. And we started to put these things together. But the thing that was interesting was I was interested in it. I was excited about it, but nobody else was, And because it was not part of our...
Larry.
Well, Larry was like, yeah, I give Larry a lot of credit for saying, here's the resource, but he didn't give me the culture, And that's really what you want. You really want, right, as I said, from the beginning of the beginning, you want to have that intention that the culture's there. On the first day of work of every person at Salesforce, in the morning, we show them where their desk is and their phone and, have to introduce them to each other. But in the afternoon, they have to go out and do volunteerism.
On the first day of work.
On the first day of work. Every employee, we now have over 15,000 employees. At the end of this year, we'll have more than 18,000 employees. On the first day of work, every single employee goes out and does something for somebody else. We go out to Glide here in San Francisco. We go out to a soup kitchen, a homeless shelter. We go out to the schools. We go out and do something for others. So right at the beginning, you say, oh, I'm at a different kind of company. And we've done that since we started. We we're coming up on our 16th anniversary, which will be on March 8th, only a couple days from now. But on that first day, every single employee has gone out and done some type of selfless service.
My God, email is just awful. When you get on those reply all chains and everybody is just dumping everything into email, and then you're a slave to your email, you're not thinking about your product, you're not thinking about your customers. Here's an easy way to solve that problem. Get HipChat. I use HipChat. All my companies use HipChat. I live in HipChat. Why? I can get a quick, instant response to discussions with a distributed team like I have at Inside, or a local team like Launch here, but I'm on the road. I take out the HipChat app, which of course works on Android and iOS and everywhere. They have a desktop app as well, which is very solid. You can search all these different rooms, and you can set up public rooms. So when we did the Launch Festival, I set up a public room for the hackathon, public room for customer support, public room for the main stage, public room for the Product Hunt AMA stage. HipChat solves all of those problems for me, and it's super, super affordable. HipChat is, of course, free for the regular service. It can't be at that price. And their clients include Netflix, Dropbox, Salesforce, Launch, Inside. It integrates with Jira, GitHub, Bitbucket, and a bunch of other ones. In fact, we have some really interesting integrations with If This Then That and Zapier, where like if I publish to my blog, my RSS feed says, hey, a new blog post came out. This way everybody on my team knows I did a new blog post. Hey, they can go comment, they can go retweet it, they can correct the spelling error, right? Those kind of automation things are very powerful, and HipChat is awesome for doing that kind of instant notification of events, triggers that occur in the real world. Like, if this account tweets, publish it into the main room. That's a pretty powerful one too. So you can also get video and screen sharing, which I did today. Actually, I was on the phone with Blake, one of my developers, and I just said, hey, just HipChat me some audio. We did audio in HipChat, and we're texting in HipChat at the same time. It was really cool. HipChat Plus is free for the first 6 months to the first 1,000 listeners of this program, and you can go to hipchat.com/twist, hipchat.com/twist to get that first 6 months free. Okay. Let's get back to this amazing episode. HipChat is awesome. That's all you need to know. Go try it out. You're going to love it. It will transform your organization. Okay, let's get back to this amazing episode.
And so I asked you about the expression 111. What is it?
Well, that idea was, how do we kind of frame, how do we put this together in a way that is packaged as a culture, and we took 1% of our equity, 1% of our profit, 1% of all of our employees' time on day one of the company, okay? It was very easy, I have to tell you, because we had no equity, we had no people, we had no products, we had no profits.
You had no sales.
What's that?
You had no sales either.
We had no sales. So, but now we do, actually. So because of that decision that we made 16 years ago, we've done more than, we've done 1 million hours of volunteerism. We have given away $100 million in grants. We've been able to, we run 25,000 nonprofits and NGOs on our services. And we've met all these incredible people from all over the world that we didn't even know were out there that we were able to serve. We make customer relationship management software, you know that. We do work in sales and service and marketing and community and analytics and apps. And our products are pretty good. And small companies use them, medium companies use them, big companies use them. And all of a sudden we realized that nonprofits and NGOs can actually use them too. But then we made a decision. Those nonprofits and NGOs are not going to pay for Salesforce products, okay? And so we started to aggregate them. We even have this conference, Dreamforce.
Yes, I've heard of it.
It's a big event every year. It's like, a lot of nonprofits come. It's not just the largest nonprofit technology conference in the world, it's the largest nonprofit conference in the world, because we've built such an unbelievable relationship with all these nonprofits and NGOs, helping them to run their operations, giving them grants. We're their partners. And they never really had kind of a strong partner before, certainly coming out of the tech industry. And I'll tell you, for this event today, we put together a great video with one of those nonprofits and NGOs that I'm sure a lot of people have heard about here, called Donorschoose. And I thought everyone would like to see what we're doing with one of those nonprofits. So let's take a look at Donorschoose.
I was a history teacher at a high school in the Bronx for 5 years. My colleagues and I would spend a lot of our own money on copy paper and pencils, and it just occurred to me that there were people out there who'd want to help teachers like us if they could see exactly where their money was going.
Many times as teachers, we have to try to be creative in how we get supplies for our classrooms. I have to either provide it myself or beg from parents or find an organization like Donorschoose.
The Salesforce platform and ExactTarget Marketing Cloud enable us to make giving truly personal, enable us to make it hyperlocal, targeted to your interests, your favorite author, the sport you played in high school. It's about enabling someone who may have just $1 to be a full-fledged philanthropist. More than 1.5 million people have given the classroom project requests at Donorschoose, and if we're going to serve even more students, we've got to reach out to those donors in a really personal way.
The customer journey starts when someone comes to donorschoose.org, and in order to get them to come back and give again, we need to be able to deliver them a story that's meaningful and that will speak to them. We send our emails through the ExactTarget Marketing Cloud, and we pull in data from the Salesforce platform to be able to customize and personalize the emails. If we're sending a back-to-school seasonal appeal and we're sending it to a person who lives in Chicago, we're able to pull in a classroom project that might be down the street from their home.
I remember the first time that I received an email from Donorschoose, and they let you know your project has been funded. And I was just like totally shocked. I thought, why would somebody want to be donating to my classroom? You know, who are these people? And sometimes they're anonymous. That's what goes through my heart, is seeing people that are willing to donate and just take time. And it is just like having Christmas when you haven't had any presents and all of a sudden it's just, it comes in.
This school year, we'll deliver $63 million to classrooms. 20% of that will come from people who are responding to emails we send.
If it wasn't for Donorschoose, these cabinets in here would be empty. It gives me hope for the future. There's people out there that do care about kids.
So there are 11 million kids, most of them from low-income families, who've now got books, art supplies, field trips, and technology that they need to learn. That's the result of almost $250 million of giving to projects on our site. This new movement that people call crowdfunding, and Donorschoose.org specifically, can be a force for changing the system itself. We think we can have an impact beyond the books, art supplies, and field trips we deliver, and actually be a force for education reform. And with the Salesforce platform and ExactTarget, we're able to do that.
So I mean, that's it's a great organization, and he's amazing. But the thing that's kind of cool about it is, you know, for us, you know, we finished our fiscal year at the end of January, and so the second week of February, I have to kick off, you know, the new fiscal year. So I bring in our top 1,300 executives. So we brought them into Moscone West. We do a big event, you know, we have a big concert that night. We have our house band come and play, they're called Metallica, they're a local band. And we have 5,000 local employees there. And
do the young people like Metallica?
The young, some of them do. Some of them haven't really heard of them before. They're 34 years old. But you know, the thing that's interesting about the event is when we go to pitch our products to our own employees, you know, we have a segment on each of our 6 major products. So when we do our Sales Cloud project, we come in, we pitch the Sales Cloud. Here's what's great about it. Here's why it's become a multi-billion-dollar product.
I'm sorry, you said pitch to employees. Did you mean pitch?
We're pitching the employees.
Okay, all right.
We're pitching our employees on why they should get motivated and excited about the new fiscal year.
Got it.
Okay. And then what happens is that at the end of that segment, okay, then we immediately transition to a segment on Europe, which is a local, vocational, nonprofit NGO right here in San Francisco. It's actually now in 6 cities in the country. And they find youth that are looking for new skills and new requirements to move into companies like ours, and they help make that happen. Well, they use the Sales Cloud for all their recruiting and for managing their relationships with all of these companies that they work with and so forth and so on. We immediately transition to that. Then we go to the Service Cloud. We talk about our customer service offering. Then we immediately bridge into Polaris Project, which is running the national, you know, human trafficking hotline. But of course, it's a call center and contact center, just like the commercial customer that we're talking about, maybe like DirecTV, but in this case, we're talking about the nonprofit and NGO. And that linkage, which is kind of with Salesforce, an inextricable link between the commercial and the nonprofit NGO for our employees is very important.
And I want to ask you that specifically.
Does that make sense what I'm
saying?
Okay.
It does. And I want to ask about the business benefit, because I know right now you're making the case, and I've heard you make it before, that your employees like this a lot. It gives them a sense of meaning. So it's very obviously a recruitment and retention benefit to Salesforce. Done. Can you also make the case that there's a
And I think, by the way, that's why you look at our attrition rates are very low.
Yeah.
We have a lot of really highly tenured employees, and I think it's really has to do with we create a culture where we're highly differentiated from other organizations, especially in this category.
And so
our goal is not to be differentiated at all, actually.
Yeah, because you want more people to follow. But
Absolutely.
if this were the only benefit, that would I think you would agree that that'd be benefit enough. But can you make the case that this is also good for bottom line business? And by bottom line business, I mean bottom line business, making money.
Well, I think you have to ask yourself, what is bottom line business today, Adam? Because, I come out of a world where, when I went to college, I went to USC, and we were taught at, Marshall School down there. I'm on the board now of the school. That, Milton Friedman, the business of business is business, bottom line business, it's all about making money. But I really think that we are at a precipice right now in the world, and I really believe that the business of business is improving the state of the world. That, the number one thing that business needs to be focused on is its stakeholders, not just its shareholders. And that businesses that are really successful are ones that are stakeholder-based, not shareholder-based. I think that immediately what we do in business is go right to the bottom line. But I think if you go right to the bottom line, you're missing actually the true area where you're going to get the most differentiation, the most profitability, and really the most competitive advantage, and that's in managing your stakeholders. And when I say your stakeholders, I mean you need to pay attention to, we've already talked about your employees, of course your customers, of course your partners, of course your shareholders, but also the community. And I think there's no other way to do this besides saying that you're going to pivot your company to be about improving the state of the world, not just improving the state of the tech industry or improving the state of your bottom line, because you can look at our environment, you can look at our school district, you can look at wage disparity, you can look at a lot of issues that are gripping this planet right now. It's the people in this room who are starting these companies who are going to solve these problems, and we need to bring their energy and their resource to not just create world-class companies, but to give them the awareness that they can not only create a world-class company, but also have positive impact as well.
What is the easiest way to make a website? It's Squarespace. It's elegant, it's beautiful, and it works on mobile. It's flawless. I love Squarespace, and I use it every day. In fact, the Launch Incubator, the Launch Fund, the Launch Festival, every time I have a new aspect or new brand for our company, I say just pop up a Squarespace. Pop up a Squarespace. It's so easy. And you know what? My chief of staff, my Emmy Award-winning producer, anybody on my team, the research team, they can add pages to the site. So when we were doing the Launch Festival, I was like, hey, put up a page for parties. Hey, put up a page for the chat room. Hey, put up a page for this. Put up a page for that. It was so simple and easy. It was the easiest thing we've ever done using Squarespace. And by the way, it starts at only $8 a month and comes with a free domain if you buy the service for a year, which is, why wouldn't you? It's so affordable. Cover pages allow you to set up one-page presence in minutes. Commerce, every website comes with free commerce. I forgot about that because I don't really sell product. But if you have a friend who has a store, my God, you'll be up and running so quickly and easily. Simple, powerful, and beautiful. Start a free trial with no credit card. That's how confident they are. They don't ask for the credit card. And after a free trial, you can use the promo code TWIST to get 10% off your first purchase. To show your support, go ahead and thank @Squarespace on the Twitter. They're a great company. They keep adding features to this product, and it's super elegant and super awesome. I love Squarespace. I can't say enough nice things about the company because I use it. Super simple. I use it. What more do you need to know? If I use it, then you should use it. It's a great product. It's clean. It's efficient. It's cheap. and your designs are going to look great. Okay, let's get back to this amazing episode. Thank you, Squarespace.
So give us your report card on the state of corporate America, if you would. Let's say that Salesforce.com gets an A+, or maybe you'd say an A- with aspirations of being A+, because you have to have something to shoot for, right? How about everyone else?
Well, I think that, I think you've got a situation where more companies than ever before are doing more to help the planet than ever before. Even very large companies. I don't think you have to go any farther than kind of look at some of the sustainability efforts led by Paul Pullman at Unilever to see a really big company doing really incredible things. But not every company is lined up in that area. I was just at the World Economic Forum in Davos. It's kind of evenly split. You see CEOs who are committed to improving the state of their bottom line, and CEOs who are committed to improving the state of the world. Those are kind of the CEOs of the largest companies in the world. And I think it's still, I think we still have a lot of work to do to bring everyone into a boat to say we're all on this planet together. We can all have profitable businesses. We can have growth. Salesforce had 32% revenue growth, this year. We're now the 6th largest software company in the world. At the end of this quarter, we'll be at a $6 billion annual run rate. We'll probably be about the 5th largest software company in the world. We've got great, we grew our bottom line also by 175 basis points. We can do a lot in terms of running a successful company, building great products, but for each and every person in this room, they can have a personal power not only to create a great company, okay, but to create a great company that is going to impact this world in a positive way. And all the kind of things that we've already gone through, giving back, female empowerment, everything that we want, we can achieve as entrepreneurs. That's why we are entrepreneurs, because we believe that we have the ability to have impact. If we didn't have that, we would stay in our corporations. I would have stayed at Oracle if I didn't think that I could do it. But when I thought, gee, you know what? Maybe I can do it. Just like every one of these people in this room was like, I can do this. I can make this happen. Just be clear about what is it that you're saying. What is it that you want to make happen? That's my point, is let's get really clear about what is it that we want to create. What is our dream? If John F. Kennedy wants to go to the moon, Martin Luther King has a dream, for you and your company, what is your vision? What do you really want?
And one of your dreams right now is for this community that you're a big part of, the tech entrepreneurial community, in particular in Silicon Valley, to be far better at giving back than it is. And so why, first of all, has the track record been so bad?
Well, we just come out of an industry that has a really strong lineage of stinginess, and I don't know why that is. Otherwise, with all the incredible wealth that has been created, from Fort Mason all the way down to, through the whole peninsula down to San Jose, you would see every great building, hospital, university. I mean, it would be unbelievable the amount of wealth that is unleashed. But we know that, a lot of that wealth has been kind of held back. Maybe somebody wants to stay on that list longer than they, than their friend is going to be on there, or whatever it is. They all have their own personal reasons. But it's not just about personal wealth, it's really about organizational giving and the ability to kind of get your company tuned in to make that happen. We talked about 1-1-1. 1% is maybe helping a company like Donorschoose with product or a grant of some type. 1% might be doing something in regards to volunteerism. Our employees get 4 hours a month for a paid off for volunteerism, 6 days a year paid for volunteerism. That we've seen them do unbelievable things. We just had a group went off to Cambodia and worked with Room to Read to do an incredible project over there. But right here, San Francisco Unified School District needs a lot of help. A lot of entrepreneurs who are San Francisco-based entrepreneurs, they've got their kids in public schools here. They know those public schools need help.
Even some journalists.
Even some journalists. And let me tell you something. There's an initiative right now that of the 125 public schools here in San Francisco, there's a movement to get each tech company to adopt one public school and work with the principal to make that happen. Now, Salesforce has a $50 million effort focused on the San Francisco public schools right now. We have 5,000 employees right downtown. We're trying to get them to do more work in the public schools. Public schools are a super great philanthropic target, and I thought you'd love to see what we're doing with the San Francisco Unified School District. Let's take a look.
That's great. Mark, I want to end on the subject of marketing. So I don't think anyone in this room will accuse me of being overly complimentary when I say that you're one of the world's greatest living marketers.
Thank you.
I mean, just witness the last 25 minutes where you made this impassioned plea for entrepreneurs to give back at the very beginning of their companies, but you did not neglect the opportunity to educate people about Salesforce.com and its products, and that should stick with a few people, and maybe they'll buy, or maybe someone they know will buy some products.
But that is also the whole point, isn't it? That, you know, you're making your company better by making the world better. There is no separation. And I think that's really important. There was no separation between the two things. And I think that, you know, when you look at all the brands on that, you know, up on this banner here, you know, each brand has a whole different set of values associated with it. And you think about the company associated with each brand, and maybe employees that you've met with each brand. When people look at Salesforce, what I want is for them to think, okay, this is a company that is doing well by doing good.
And so
that's really important to me, and it's been important to me, as you know, from the beginning.
And so there's people sitting in the room who say to themselves, or thinking to themselves right now, I'm not as brash as Marc Benioff, I'm not as aggressive as Marc Benioff, I'm not as visionary as Marc Benioff, I'm not as shameless as Marc Benioff. And how can I be as good a marketer as Marc Benioff? And is it important that I be as good at marketing? And I'm speaking for them, not for me.
Well, I think, you know, being a great marketer is being part of a great entrepreneur. You have to be ready to raise money. You have to be ready to close deals. And let me tell you, when you're, you know, we have a big company now, and when I'm with my employees, I'm marketing to them. I think I told you about this kickoff event. I have to motivate and align and energize my employee base as well. You want to be a great entrepreneur, you better pick your game up when it comes to marketing skills, sales skills, communication skills, obviously engineering skills, product management skills. It's a whole nother world when you get into being a public company. We've now delivered, you know, 43 public quarters. We've been public for 10 years. You've seen our chart over 10 years since we've been a public company. That's another set of skills. You know, being an entrepreneur, one of the great things about being an entrepreneur is your ability to constantly develop yourself and improve yourself. And it's a great personal development exercise. And that's one of the great reasons to be an entrepreneur. So embrace those opportunities. Look at the white space of where you may not have those skills, and add those skills in to your life. You know, I'm always looking for things that I can, like, you know, one of the people I give a lot of money to is UCSF, not that far away from here, near your home. And you know, one of the things that they've really pioneered is a lot of the worldview of neuroplasticity. You know, our minds are very flexible. We can learn new things, and we can grow and evolve constantly. That is the battle cry for the entrepreneur. That is, you have to be ready to grow. You think that you're going to be successful if you're the same person today as you're going to be 5 years from now? No way.
And look
you got to get ready to move, people.
And look back 16 years or longer if you like. What's the skill that you needed to develop as an entrepreneur that you didn't have at the beginning?
Oh, well, I think you kind of from the, you said it right at the beginning of it all. When you start with your company, you're going to have a lot of anxiety and stress and fear, and your job is to transform that into self-confidence and to give you kind of that, the ability to say, I have clarity, I trust myself, I have a feeling for my vision, I can see that happening. I work with entrepreneurs all the time. That kind of shift from, anxiety to trust, that's the most important thing that they can go through. There's nothing more important than the trust that you can have with yourself, and ultimately the trust that you're going to have with your employees and your customers, your partners, your investors, and your community. So that's the shift that all of us need to make. And once you make that shift, it's just that's a beautiful thing that keeps paying out.
So before I say thank you to you on behalf of the audience, I want to make an announcement on your behalf, which is that if you want to find out how to implement 111 over at the AMA stage, where Dipti Pratt, who works for the Salesforce.com Foundation.
Yes, we're funding Dipti to help all of you take our 1% pledge. So how many people here already have 1% or volunteerism or doing something in your companies? Raise your hand. Isn't that great? See, I think that's amazing. But for the rest of you who are looking at exploring these ideas, we have somebody here to help you. We also have sharethemodel.org, which is a website we've put together. But we want to help you make that leap and take that 1% pledge and to become part of this movement.
And that workshop is at 3:10 over at that other stage that I mentioned. Mark, thank you.
Great to see you, Adam. Thank you.